Right, it must be getting very, very cold now, very chilled.
Yeah, but it's not that cold. In between, there are some nice days when you have like 70s, 80s Fahrenheit. So it's quite nice,
Mhm, mhm. Oh, those are nice days, huh?
Yeah. They say the webinar is streaming live on YouTube. So
Hmm. Oh, is
it,
it so? So
yeah,
whatever we
looks
are
like,
chatting, people are able to hear that. Good. So I think we still have about 15 minutes to go.
okay.
Hmm.
So I can go off
So
video
if
here.
you want, I mean, you could be the first one to go, and then you can, if you wish, to catch a nap.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that, but in case there are questions and all that, it might look bad for everyone else, right?
All right. No, no, I would love to
How
have
how
you
long how
answer.
long is the session for?
It's about 45 minutes.
Okay, that's fine.
Hmm.
I can hang on. That's okay.
All right. The Pan session went off very well.
Thank you.
What I mean, there is I attended several of them,
Yeah.
and the quality was very good. And you covered the Prime Minister's address very well,
Thank you. Thank
because
you so
we
much.
we were worried that he's shortened his address, and how are you going to fill the before and after? But you did a
Right,
very
right,
good
right,
job.
right. No, thank you. Thank you so much. Uh, and I was speaking from the heart also, so it,
Mhm,
it
mhm.
was it wasn't yes, there was a lot of preparation put into what I was going to say, but it wasn't as if it was a read out speech or anything like that.
No, it didn't look like that. Came as coming straight from heart, and that's what makes a difference.
No, for sure.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go off video here and I'm just going to get
Joining.
some coffee.
Oh, sure.
Hi, Naveen.
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I saw your message that you returned to Professor Rao, and yeah, thank you so much for that. And I'm glad that the Pan IIT event went off very well.
No, thank you so much. Did you get a chance to see some of the events? So,
Briefly, actually, yeah. So those are days I think I was occupied with other stuff here, but I did briefly get to. I went to our booth that we had set up and looked at that carefully, and then I also was in one of the.
okay, very good. But you know that if you want to see anything that you missed, you just have to go back to that same website, just to put
Yes.
in an email. It will give you a code. You can watch anything that you missed. Yeah.
Terrific. Hi, Yogesh.
Hello,
Nice to
hello,
see you.
Naveen. Welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. So I heard
So
you.
there's another lady here. Hi.
Hi, that must be Kalpana.
Hi, Kalpana. How are you? Unless you go unmute, we have to use our Kalpana to hear what you're saying. Okay, there you go.
Hi, I'm Gitanjali this side.
Gitanjali.
Sorry, got your name wrong.
Yeah, I'm the JS right now. So in another 4-5 minutes, we'll start the session.
Very good. Thank you.
Waiting for 2-3 more of our panelists to join.
Krishan will be joining us, and then Professor from IIT Roorkee.
Yeah, Professor Gujar has to join. Yeah, just waiting them, and then we'll start.
So, Gitanjali, how will you give us the questions from audience? Will they come in chat box or QA box?
I think they'll share in the chat box, and then you can pick up as a moderator. I'll just give them to you, and then you can like.
All right. So because I didn't see any Q&A panel there, that's why I was wondering. So everybody will write in the chat box only.
They can chat, and about the session, I think first I'll introduce you, and I'll also introduce the panelist, and then I'll just give it to you, and then you can like moderate the session then.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Sandy, you are 1985?
No, 1984.
1984. Okay.
The last 5-year batch.
Oh, you were the last 5-year batch. Okay.
No,
Oh,
sorry.
After that,
Second last 5-year
last.
batch, because the next one was 5 years and 4 years. They went together. You know.
Yeah. So I remember I know a few 85 folks here, and some of them are from the 5-year and some are from the 4-year program.
Right. So Yogesh sir, ये देखें, अगर दिख रहा है आपको तो नहीं दिख रहा है?
Oh, lovely. The Christmas gift.
No.
That's
I
his
don't know how to
background.
show you this.
Oh,
नहीं,
that's the
आपके
background.
से वो interfere हो रहा है.
It's interfering with that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Okay.
So maybe if you can switch off the virtual background for a while, then you'll be able to show it.
Yeah, let's see how I can do that. There we go. Okay, you want to see this? That's happening next.
Yes, that's a post. That's a post. Wow.
थोड़ा सा नीचे करिए. I want to see the top.
Garv.
That's
wow, lovely. I'll be there at it.
Stand-up comedy. Okay, nice.
Stand-up comedy, and then
this one is our talk.
This one is our talk, and the one below that, yes.
Okay. Nice. So
I
you are
seeing it earlier.
Sorry.
You are a comic too.
Well, I'm only a comic. When I'm serious, that itself sounds funny. You see.
Okay.
No, I'm teasing. I enjoy. I really do. I do a lot of performances here in Houston for charities and private parties. And whatever I do for private parties, I typically will get them to, I support the IIT Alumni of Houston. So if they pay me anything, it goes straight to the Alumni Association.
Oh, lovely.
Nice.
So wonderful. That's a nice way of generating resources.
Yeah, why not? Have
why
some
not?
fun in the process.
Why not?
Yeah, but after today, I may be persona non grata with everybody.
What are you planning to say? Oh, in the stand-up. Okay.
Yeah, by the way, Naveen sir, that email that you're referring to,
Yeah.
I wrote that email, if you like, it was a customized email that I drafted for each of the 23 IITs.
Nice. Okay.
To say, very happy to engage, looking for ideas, on how we can do better. If you're representing the IITs, no better than you guys to give us the input as to what is it that we could do and should be doing. And not that we can promise everything and anything, being a volunteer organization, but at least getting the direction set, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm truly looking to take the organization with the 3 words of Modi ji's speech. I really want to reform the organization. I truly want to transform it. And then let's see about performance for the first 2 things, right? Mm-hmm. There are many things that are in my mind. Some of them being, potentially taking this down a 501c3 organization, potentially looking to revise the charter to do more things in India, etc., etc. Krishan sir, namaskar.
Welcome, Krishan.
Hi guys, how are you? Hi Sandy.
Kya haal hai sir?
Yogesh.
Hello, welcome.
Naveen. Yeah, hi Naveen.
Hi.
And there are 2 IIT Delhi Alumni Association.
Gitanjali. She's Gitanjali, Joint Secretary right now.
Oh, okay. Hi Gitanjali.
Hello everyone. We are just waiting for Professor Gujar from IIT Roorkee to join. I think he'll be joining in a minute or so.
No problem. वैसे श्रीनिवासन के मुंह से इतनी शुद्ध हिंदी सुनने में थोड़ा मजा तो आ रहा होगा आप लोगों को, क्यों नहीं?
अरे बिल्कुल यार, क्यों नहीं?
देखिए गीतांजलि खुद हंस रही है।
वो तेरी कल्पना बहुत बढ़िया थी है?
हाँ, ये बात भी सही थी। अरे आपको हैरान कर देंगे, पूरे संदर्भ में शुद्ध हिंदी में ही वार्तालाप कर सकते हैं, कोई पंगा ही नहीं है।
तो आज का सेशन हो जाए हिंदी में?
बिल्कुल, अगर आप चाहते हैं तो। और जिसने भी पहला शब्द अंग्रेजी का इस्तेमाल किया वो आउट।
फिर आप ही बचेंगे थोड़ी देर में। Hi Bola, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Hello, so
hi.
Welcome, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello everyone. So I think we can start. Mr. Dande,
it's at 2 o'clock now, and let's begin.
Yeah.
So good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this panel discussion session on future of alumni relationship. And I'm Gitanjali, JS of the IIT Delhi Alumni Association. So today in the session, Future of Alumni Relationship, the session will be moderated by Mr. Yogesh Andle. And as panelists, we have Professor Naveen Garg, Dean AAI and IP IIT Delhi, Professor Gujar, Dean Resources and Alumni Affairs IIT Roorkee, Mr. KK Dhar, Chairman PAN IIT, and Mr. Sundaram Srinivasan, President PAN IIT USA. So warm welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all. And Mr. Yogesh Andle is a founding team member of several Indian leading well-known companies in IT consultancy and education field. He is co-founder of Nucleus Software Grow Talent Company Limited and School of Inspired Leadership. He also serves on the board of SOI, School of Inspired Leadership, and it has been recognized as the pioneer in leadership education and has won laurels for its unique approach to leadership development. Yogesh Andle graduated from IIT Delhi in 1979 and was the president of IIT Delhi Alumni Association during the year 2006 to 2007. So welcome, Mr. Andle. Our first panelist is Professor Naveen Garg, Dean Alumni Affairs and International Programs. Professor Garg is the Janki and KAA Iyer Chair Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, IIT Delhi. He started as an UG student in this department in 1987, completed a PhD in 1994, and joined as an assistant professor in 1997. He was a postdoc and a member of the technical staff at MPI Informatic Saarbrücken from 1994 to 97. He is coordinating the UQ IIT Delhi Academy of Research at IIT Delhi. So welcome, Professor Garg.
Thank you.
Next panelist is Professor B.R. Gujar, Dean Resources and Alumni Affairs at IIT Roorkee. He is Professor in Civil Engineering at IIT Roorkee. He has his BE in Civil Engineering and ME Environmental Engineering from JNV University, Jodhpur, and a PhD in Environmental Risk Analysis from IIT Delhi. He has worked as a scientist with Max Planck Institute for Chemistry at Germany from 2002 to 2005, and in 2005 he joined IIT Roorkee. And his areas of interest are air, water, urban transport, sustainability, and environmental impact assessment. So thank you so much, Professor Gujar, for joining us today. Warm welcome, sir. Our next panelist is Mr. K.K. Dhar. He is the chairman, Pan IIT Alumni India. And Mr. Dhar graduated from chemical engineering. He is 1971 batch from IIT Delhi. And he also has been the president of IIT Delhi Alumni Association from 1998 to 1999. Welcome, Mr. Dhar. Really nice to see you, sir, with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next panelist, very enthusiastic and dynamic personality, Mr. Sundaram Sundi Srinivasan. And he is extremely well connected and respected industry executive with more than 35 years of international upstream oil and gas experience. He has spent more than 25 years at Schlumberger, and he's been involved in the Owls Group startup company advisor as University of Houston, and he has been a judge for last 10 years in world's largest business plan competition at Rice Alliance and mentors and advisors startup companies. He also mentors students through college application process, after dinner talks at various organizations, and also performs as a stand-up comedian during his free time. So once again, warm welcome, Mr. Sundi. We look forward to your presence today. So I've finished with the introductory of all the panelists and the moderator. So over to moderator, Mr. Yogesh Angle, for the session.
Thank you, Geetanjali, for such a wonderful introduction, and really introduced all the panelists so well. First time I came to know about the mega contribution that alumni can make was at Ashoka Hotel in Delhi. That was the time when Vision 2020 was being unveiled, and the whole process was led by none other than our dear Krishan Dhar, who's also present on this panel today. So, Krishan, before we begin, I would like to ask you to share something about the memories of that Vision 2020. How did all the alumni get together, work with the institute to develop that mega vision? That was such a mega event that happened that day, and such a, and that Vision 2020 was even referred by Professor Ramarao's committee, and they gave a lot of weightage to it. So, Krishan, would you like to share something about that history, how the alumni have stayed connected with the institute, and what's been the relationship with the institute and alumni life before we talk about the future?
Well, since you referred to that incident, let me just briefly outline what happened at that time. The government had appointed an IIT review committee. They do this every 8-10 years or something like that. And the review committee, reached out to all the stakeholders. They were, of course, interacting with the faculty and the director at IIT Delhi, and they asked the Alumni Association whether they would like to have a meeting and express their views to the committee. So we had this meeting in the Senate room. I remember that, and there were these gentlemen from, there was a couple of IAS officers, Professor Ramarao was there were a few more people there. During the course of discussion in that meeting, what we did, and along with me, there were other past presidents of IIT Delhi Alumni Association. There was PG, and then others like Thadani and Rajinder Pawar. There were a lot of people there. And so it became clear to us during the meeting that, we weren't going to accomplish much just by a verbal exchange of opinions and things like that. And we had to, so we decided we were going to make a presentation to the IIT review committee. And at that time, we had actually got a lot of data from McKinsey, which was the core of the factual part, which I put together that presentation for the event, and in fact presented it also. So we had this excellent data, which McKinsey had done pro bono for IIT Delhi Alumni Association. I have had a bunch of data we had to sift through what was relevant. And then we made little, we decided what the structure of the submission would be, and we made small groups which were dealing with each thing. And I was the guy putting it all together, consolidating it, and that's what we did. And then at that time, the president of the association decided he wanted to have a big event to present this thing. So we hired the Ashoka Hotel Convention Center, and I made that presentation there, which went very well and was very well received. And so that's what it was. And really what we were saying at that time was that, the US has MIT, Stanford, Caltech. They have, many institutes which are doing cutting edge research and working on things. In India, all we have are the IITs. And even here, the numbers showed that in terms of patents per faculty, citations per faculty, we were we had a very small rating compared to the American, technical institutes like MIT and others. Although the GRE scores of the alumni and all those are on par. So what we had proposed at that time was the IITs should predominantly focus on becoming knowledge creators, that they have to focus on research. The number of postgraduate students should be increased substantially, and not to focus so much on, BTech education, which was not a very popular view with some people. But the numbers showed that the facts that we had, it showed that really, there is Indian Institute of Science. There are a few more institutes of eminence which have been declared by the government and all that. But in engineering development, all we had was the IITs, and they have to focus because there has to be some knowledge creators in our country. And we thought that the IITs were the only ones who were available for this role. So essentially, that was what we presented to the review committee, and Professor Ramarao was there and his entire team were there. His entire committee were there at Ashoka Hotel that day, and they were very happy with what we presented to them. You're muted,
Okay.
Yogesh.
Yes. So what you presented as a vision at that time, almost 10 years or 12 years ago, has now become reality. Today we have 11,000 students in IIT Delhi, and a large percentage of them is postgraduate and research students. And you wanted exactly the focus to shift towards research.
Yes.
You wanted focus to shift towards patent, citation, and all these things. And if you look at the statistics in IIT today, I think on all those counts, IIT Delhi has really performed very well. So that is what I visualize is alumni were able to visualize a vision for IIT, though they were not implementing it, they were not part of the administration, but they visualized a vision. And look, the IITs have been moving on that path. So with this observation, Naveen, I would like to come to you and ask you, how do you see alumni contribute to the institute? So over to you, Naveen.
I have been in this role as Dean Alumni only for about 8 months now. And but these 8 months have been an eye-opener for me, in the sense of as I go through all our alumni records and all the various things that the alumni have created in the institute, have contributed both in material terms, but also through their expertise, through their through all their endeavors, right? It's really been a learning for me, because as a faculty member, you get to see if when I was not part of the alumni office, you got to know that Vinod Khosla set up the School of IT, and you got to know that the Kusuma School of Biological Sciences was set up by Anurag Dixit. But these were like, you thought of as few alumni making that effort. But it's really phenomenal, right? What our alumni have been, and to the extent that they have been engaged in with the institute in various forms, right? And so I think that's very positive. And but there is a need to perhaps structure that engagement even better, find ways in which we can tap into all the expertise that lie with our alumni. And and I know that alums are very eager, right? For everyone that I have met, and and also my own classmates, and I know I'm myself an alum of this institute, that they are all very eager to contribute in whichever way they want. They realize that the institute has played a humongous role in their careers, in their development, and so they all want to contribute back. We at IIT Delhi, and I'm hoping through these three such panels and through such mechanisms, I will get more ideas, or we'll get more ideas on how best to structure some of these engagements, so that when there is a certain mode of working, it becomes so much more easier. An alum could just come and say, I want to join this program, or this is where I think I can contribute best. And we want to create such endeavors, such programs, and that's where my focus is at this point. Professor Rao mentioned in his talk today, we're thinking of setting up some adjunct faculty appointments for our alums. Lots of our alums are doing extremely well in teaching and research, and we want to be able to tap into their expertise. And they all want to come back and maybe contribute through lectures on mentoring students or whatever it is. And we want to be able to create a program for that. And similar such, we have a lot of entrepreneurs who've done extremely well. How best can we tap their expertise into enriching the institute, various fields, right? We have had civil servants, we've had so many things. So I'm looking for ideas, I'm looking for fresh ideas, and I would say there is a lot to be done, right? Till now, most of our engagement has been in the nature of someone coming up and saying, okay, I want to do this. And it's all self-driven and self-motivated, and the institute has rarely actually actively reached out to alums, right? Quite often it is alums coming up and saying, I want to do this. I must say, we've, in some cases, we've been very welcoming. In some cases, we've said, our mechanisms, our processes are too complex to be achieving such a thing. But I guess that's what my office's role is, to try and smoothen those things, and also to create programs where alums can participate. And, so I'm looking for ideas, therefore. And I do not know whether I answered your question, Yogesh, but
thank you.
Briefly, that's what my thoughts are on this matter.
Sure. So we would like to move to the ideas man with us today, Sunday. You have been talking to a cross section of alumni in US and everywhere, and you have been a part of more than one institution. So what do you see is the alumni's aspiration? How would they like to contribute back to IIT, and how can we channelize that? How can we get all those ideas to Professor Naveen, as he mentioned? So
yeah, so it's a great point, and it's not an easy task, but it's not something that can't be done, Naveen sir, right? So if I build it up onto building blocks, right? I mean, I speak for myself, as I'm sure I speak for a lot of IITians who are alumni, that I am today who I am thanks to the IIT system. Okay, there's no question about that, right? Middle class or lower middle class, and that was my ticket to a good life. So I owe the institute a lot. Okay, so if you build on that, I'm sure there are a lot of alumni who feel the same way, right? So the aspect of creating a mechanism whereby they can contribute is key, because the aspiration and the desire, in my opinion, for them to contribute is already there. If that first thing wasn't there, that's a much more difficult hurdle to cross, I guess. Let me put it that way, right? Then let me jump a few steps and take an example of, so I'm also an MIT grad, okay? So if I need to connect on any issue which is personal to me or business related for me, I have access to the entire MIT alumni database. One email that goes from me, immediately the alumni are ready to connect. There is that entire system set up where, I'm just taking as an example, I'm not a startup guy, but let's assume I was a startup guy, right? bang, I'll get 2 contacts immediately from the institute. Maybe somebody will connect me to a VC and off I go. It's that ecosystem that helps the alumni. And therefore, once people see something coming out of that engagement from the Alumni Association to themselves, unfortunately, people are like that, then the reverse contribution takes place. So, building on that, here's the idea. If we can have, for example, that system of a directory of alumni, but created by, I don't know, category or created by expertise, I don't know, tomorrow I've got some idea for batteries. Boom. I should be able to say, IIT Delhi, connect me to all the battery experts. Boom, 3 or 4, right? And little by little over the years, that philosophy of, hey, we need to help any alum that connects to this board. Initially, you can maybe monitor it. So, hey, somebody's made a request. I'm going to make sure he gets a response. And then after that, it starts happening. Does that make sense, Yogesh?
It does. Yes, absolutely. So that's a fabulous way of starting the Alumni Connect. And Sundi, you'd be happy to note that many alumni are actually coming back to the institute and working with a lot of students, lot of startups. We have in the FIT a group which is not only working with the startups, I am Bangalore IIT Delhi group, but also providing some seed capital too. And and this thought of yours that if a message comes to the alumni association or alumni office, and it can get flashed to all the alumni community or to the targeted community, that would be a very good, fabulous start. So, Professor Gurjar, you have studied at IIT Delhi, and now you are in the senior administrative position in IIT Roorkee. Would you like to? I would like you to share your views. How you look at the alumni relations? How can alumni contribute to the institute, their alma mater, and not only to the alma mater, to the entire IIT ecosystem?
Yeah,
Gurjar.
thank you, Mr. Andle. So, based on my experience, I would like to, echo the words of Professor Garg and Mr. Srinivasan that mechanism is the key. The mechanism is the key because without mechanism, there is a huge gap between alumni community and the institute. And it's a fact that alumni has strong emotions, they have very strong bond and they want to contribute to their alma mater. But sometimes, and rather on the basis of my experience, would say that because of this lacuna or the huge gap of right path or right mechanism, we fail to connect with the right person, and sometimes we just fail this opportunity where somebody could contribute in a big way. And as far as communication to the alumni community, as Mr. Srinivasan has said, it's I think a little bit tricky thing because we tried and sometimes we get this feedback that no, we don't like to connect this way. Our database is very private and you can't just send so many emails or something like that. So maybe we can develop some mechanism, for example a platform where somebody sends message and it depends on the voluntary attempt that somebody wants to respond to it or not, rather than sending emails, because people so many emails people have, and if it goes on and on, then they feel irritated that what's it going on, and because of this sometimes important emails may be ignored. So that is not a good idea that we send every time email or something like that. But of course some platform should be there. For example, people interact on the Facebook or WhatsApp. So some kind of platform may be there where voluntarily people can interact and they can come up with some ideas that this is what I want to do and let us join hands and do it in a better way. And one thing that every individual has different outlook or worldview. So in different ways they want to contribute. It's not necessarily that in monetary terms. It's very easy or convenient way of donation and then creating some award or fellowship or scholarship. But there may be where some intellectual ideas also, and that can come through like adjunct faculty or some short visits and interacting with those relevant groups, and big projects may be proposals may be developed and submitted to funding agencies. So I mean to say that in plural way or in multiple ways we should approach to our alumni, and let us give them freedom what ideas they want to offer. As Professor Garg has said that he wants to have ideas, so different ideas can lay different paths of partnership and collaborations, and then there is no end. I mean, many things can be built upon those ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Guja. So when I look back at the way alumni have been interacting, they've been interacting in multiple ways. We have some alumni have come and made contributions to set up a school in IIT Bombay. Several hostels were renovated, where they were made afresh with the contribution of support of alumni. But what I'm keen on to hear and understand is what Krishan started off. He talked about engaging alumni to actually develop a vision for the institute. And that, to my mind, was a significant contribution. Of course, resources and everything is a must. So, Professor Naveen, would you like to share with us how can alumni organize, connect with you to be a part of developing the big vision? What's the IIT system should be? We know our alumni are all over the place in the most leading positions, either in corporates or in research bodies or in institutions. How can we get them together to really help build IITs to greater heights? Professor Naveen. And I'll come back to you. I'll repeat the same question to you also, Sundi, after Professor Naveen has shared.
Yeah, actually, when Mr. Dhar was telling about the Vision 2020 that he was instrumental in developing and creating, I was reminded of a similar such exercise we did recently. And this is now a Vision 2030 document we've created. And again, the people responsible are the usual suspects. McKinsey has done a pro bono development of this. So, my classmate Gautam Kumra, who's head of McKinsey in India, he and his team were instrumental in helping us putting together a Vision 2030 document. And this took inputs from a lot of alumni, a lot of faculty members, actually, because what is also important is to understand the faculty aspirations, right? As we move towards research and or becoming a research-led institution, we need to be able to talk about how what are the gaps that our own faculty members feel in achieving their potential, in achieving the kind of ambitions they have. And so I believe this was a very thorough exercise that was done. A vision document was created and launched with our Diamond Jubilee launch by the Vice President. And now we have actually created multiple subcommittees. And I believe, Yogesh, you are on one of those subcommittees where we are now trying to see how aspects or some aspects of this. So we've identified 7 or 8 different verticals, and these are committees which involve alums, they involve faculty members, they also involve in some cases some students, right, where there were issues related to students. And then we are trying to now see what are 2 or 3 ideas that we can implement right away and find the funding for them. And so I think it's a very interesting and useful exercise we have been able to do. And the alumni played a really important role in all of this. But I'm happy to say that it is being driven both by alumni and faculty members of the institute working together, and which I believe is the right way, right? Quite often, I'm both an alum and a faculty, and so I can safely berate any one of those two without them taking offense. So quite often faculty members are they have been as part of this institute for very long, and so fresh ideas are needed, right? And for alums, they have been dissociated with the institute for too long, and so they are sometimes not aware of how exactly, what are the challenges we face, right, and where are the difficulties in implementing those challenges. And so I think it was very much needed that we had this joint effort. I'm glad that it's been rolled out, and we've had the first meetings of most of these subcommittees in this month, and I think we are on track. So I have hope that our strategy and vision document that we've created will go beyond the document. Of course, one challenge in any of these activities is to be able to find the funds for it, and that's perhaps still going to be a challenge. But with our endowment and some money now coming into the endowment, we hope we'll be able to use some of those returns there to fund the ideas that emerge from this strategy and vision committees. So that's where we are, and I think, as was rightly said, the alumni have to play a very key role. They have a wealth of experience which faculty don't have, and faculty members have sort of the ear to the ground, and are familiar with the day-to-day bijli pani difficulties which sometimes the alums don't have. So I think it's a good partnership, and we hope it'll do wonders for the institute.
Thank you, Naveen. Soni, how would you like to respond? How can we alumni and how can we engage all the alumni together to work with the institute to take it to greater heights?
Okay, so to me, these are two separate thought processes in my head. The vision document for IIT and the engagement of alumni. So as you rightly observed, Mr. Garg, sometimes the alumni are disassociated with what's going on, right? So let's just take theoretically, let's say that you produce the absolute perfect vision document with just the faculty and the students. Let's assume that for a minute. That's therefore a separate topic. You see, there's no injection of alumni. So to me, the two things are separated, right? So it is the association with the alumni that was, if you like, today's kind of discussion, how to improve that. This could be in the vision document. It could be in a variety of other things. So I'm just separating the two, right? But since the question was about the vision, the one thing I would do is, even though we've probably achieved 95% of Krishan's vision document of 2020, it'll be great to look at it today and say, hey, this was what the vision was. Where do we stand today? What are the gaps? Let's start with that. Otherwise, every phase you're keeping on producing vision documents without actually checking where do you stand. Is there a gap at all or not, right? But coming back to the association with the alumni, just to address Mr. Gurjar's point, the idea was not to be blasting emails out. The idea was to somehow create a culture which is created by all the institutes in the States, where if an alumnus from the institute I went to emails me, there is a culture that I will respond. Even if I had to tell him, I'm sorry, I can't help you, but I will respond. That culture, if we can create in some form or fashion, you've got an alumni association like you cannot believe. That was my point, right? It's difficult to create. I understand that too. Sorry, I kind of skirted around the question, Yogesh, but I felt they were kind of two separate things. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So, Krishan, we have seen, we have observed alumni also taking up many times issues which concern IITs and which could have deep impact on IITs. So, I would like you to share how Pan IIT and IIT alumni bodies are working towards helping IITs maintain and retain the charter, the standards that they have built up, and they can grow on that. So how can we, as alumni, Pan IIT Alumni Association, can contribute towards that?
Well, we are actually doing something in this regard. I think over the last couple of months, we have contacted at least 21 of the 23 directors of the IITs. We've got their feedback on what they feel, what they, it's all being put together and made coherent. The thing is that there are several ways. See, Pan IIT has a mandate, not just IITs are one, you can say, stakeholder. Then we have the young alumni or alumni and students. So we have to connect at various levels. So what we are doing, for example, is that at the request, in Pan IIT India, the alumni associations are all our institutional members. So they are members of Pan IIT India. So we have a thing called an advisory group, which all the presidents of the alumni associations are members of that. And I think that is the only platform where all the AA presidents are there together. Now, during one of these meetings, I wanted to activate this whole thing. There was this young lady from Bhubaneswar, IIT Bhubaneswar. She is the president of their alumni association. She says, look, we have a problem that we don't have an alumni base, and we need some mentorship. There are sometimes we want to ask people, about things which are of which we are uncertain. We need something. So how can you help us in this? So I promised her right in that meeting that we will set up a mentorship program, which we are in the process of doing. I think we'll roll it out pretty soon. So we are doing it with the IIT Bhubaneswar, but then we want to take it to the other new IITs. So this is really the first time Pan IIT India is engaging with alumni associations of the new IITs, and particularly focused on, because IIT Bombay, Madras, Kanpur, everybody has a huge alumni base, which, and they run mentorship programs. IIT Bombay does it, IIT Delhi Alumni Association does it, but the others, they have not been not covered by this. So that on the one side, we are starting this. Then there was, in one of the forums where there were several directors, I think it was Wheels. Yeah, Wheels had Hiten Ghosh and others. They'd done a seminar, I think Sunday, and we were both speakers on that. And the director said, look, with this COVID thing which has happened, we have a lot of students who don't have access to devices, because now they have to do distance learning. They have to sit at home and learn, but they don't have the proper devices and the proper communication links to be able to take advantage of it. And some of them have difficulty. They can't afford them. There are all kinds of issues. So can you help us? So now that we discussed this, and there are several things which IIT Delhi Alumni Association has done. I think they work with the entrance exam people. Because of COVID, they had difficulty in reaching exam centers and all that. So this is another idea we are developing that can be, see, Professor Garg was mentioning that what the alumni have contributed to the IITs. I'll tell you that 30 years ago, the IIT Delhi Alumni Association funded the Dogra chair in Civil Engineering Department. Now, that's the only chair our alumni association has funded. I was the president of the association at that time. And my concern was that, there are lots of people who have made it big, so they are very rich, and they would come and donate large amounts of money to the IITs. Right. So, but I said, there are a lot of people who can't afford that kind of thing, and they still would like to contribute. So I started off by communicating. We had a database. In those times, the database was in a printed book. This was before the days of email. I remember it used to cost me 15 rupees per letter, and I was sending it out to 3,000 people, each letter to, and I got a lot of money. 10,000, 20,000, 5,000 from a lot of alumni. I said, look, I'm not going to go to the fat cats and try and get them to fund, one or two people to fund the whole thing. Let me try and get, and there was a pretty good response. I had to stop because, 3,000 people, 15 rupees. So 45,000 was my cost of sending one letter out. And now the whole thing has changed. The economics have changed. But the point I'm making is that we could get, so in the same fashion, so far the IITs, to my mind, have been primarily focusing on getting contributions from the wealthy donors. Yeah, we don't have any mechanism. People were talking about a mechanism where with my credit card, I can make a contribution of say $1,000. There isn't, on the one hand, there isn't a system to do this. On the second hand, there are not packages available that, okay, you can contribute either to a scholarship fund, or you can contribute to an infrastructure fund, or you can contribute. We don't have all that. That we need to develop. it's going to take time. We are discussing all these ideas in Pan IIT India, and we are going to develop a lot of these. So there are multiple levels on which, and then another thing which I'll tell you, which is important, is that there are many IIT alumni organizations all over the world. I think for the first time, when I got in touch with Sunday a few months ago, the Pan IIT USA had this big event. And he said, will you guys help us with the outreach? I said, sure, we'll help you. We'll go all out. I think, Yogesh, you know that in our alumni thing and Pan IIT network, and through the alumni associations as well, although Sunday wasn't directly in touch with the alumni association, but we worked with them. And we had a fairly good, I don't know what the final numbers are going to be, how many people from India joined that event, but this was, and I told him, hey, we're going to have our events and I would like you to give me. So he says, sure. So now we have these two. I think he has put me in touch, or is putting me in touch with Pan IIT Korea. Wow. There is a Pan IIT in UK. There is one in UAE. There is one in, so I'm trying to get, there is no point. In the past, we have tried to make a central organization with, so then there was arguments, who is the central organization? Is it Pan IIT India or Pan IIT USA or Pan IIT Global? There were all this sort of thing. So the first thing I think I need to do is to forget about this, who is the chapter and who is the principal and all that. Forget it. You're an independent alumni body. You have your own needs. You have your own circumstances. You have a different regulatory environment. You do the way it suits you. But can we bring all the alumni organizations together and have an exchange of information? So we are trying to set up, the thing is that we are trying to build up our organization and staff, but I'm trying to put together a bi-monthly newsletter or something where every Pan IIT or IIT organization, it doesn't even have to have the name, as long as it's, let's say, Wheels, we know that all the IIT guys are running it. They're part of this. Everybody is part of this. They're independent entities. They operate whatever way they like, but we are pooling resources. We are pooling. So this is something we need to do on our side, which doesn't involve the IITs directly. So we are already at work on it in a fashion, but the way in a cooperative structure like we have, where it's not a CEO and a thing like that, things work. The committee, the executive council has to figure out what to do, and then we have meetings once a month, and so things take a little bit longer.
Thank you, Krishan.
We can get there.
That's I know Pan IIT alumni associations, and you've connected with alumni associations all over the world, and that was a magnificent story which I was hearing from you offline. We'll take that up offline. But Professor Gujar, I would like to ask you one very specific, pertinent question around an issue. Is how do you see that this relationship or the cooperation or collaboration that alumni can bring to industry and academic interaction engagement? If you'd like to share a few words on that, how can that be enriched? How can that be enhanced? And if you have any thought on that?
Mr. Andle, we'll need to conclude in 5 minutes. So maybe after Professor Gujar, you can just conclude it, followed by closing remarks by the President. So we are actually short on time. I'm really sorry, but I have to remind you. Sorry. Yeah.
I think it can be like in a very simple way. For example, some industries there, they have some problems. So right away they can engage students by offering some projects and, kind of internship also. They can bring in students there, plus engage faculty also. This is very simple way, which I have experienced that it happens quite a lot. But in a big way, if, some conglomeration of some industries come up of similar nature and they put in funds in a kind of frontline area of research, then those could be kind of path breaking things, and kind of they can set up benchmark which can be replicated in different modes or different domains. I believe so. Yeah. Thank you.
That's such an important area where we all alumni can do wonder, because we have access to our own networks. We have industry around us, and industry academia interaction is one of the very, very important elements. And I'll encourage all the alumni to work towards that. And We have heard Professor Naveen Garg, Sondi. Before we close, I hand over to President. 30 seconds from all the panelists, if you'd like to make some concluding remarks. Starting with Professor Naveen.
I think, and this might be, I know, because I'm fresh into this, but I believe there is a lot of potential, and we have barely scratched the surface. And everyone tells us the Harvards and the Yales and the MITs and the Stanfords of the world have done wonders, and we really need to embark on that, learn from them, and be able to create similar such networks, include alumni much more into our into the running of the institute, into the decision making of the institute, and in all aspects of the life of the institute. I think there's a lot to be done here, and I hope that would be the future of alumni engagement and relations.
Thank you, Professor Guja.
I think to add the strength or additional force, we may use this opportunity. For example, government has encouraged the IITs to have Section 8 company to further enhance the activities of alumni and resource generation, etc. Because faculty members have their own commitments, and it's difficult to give so much time. So maybe we can hire professionals like all these big universities in US. They have completely different setup, exclusive setup, which engage all these activities. So those kind of things can also be explored on our own. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Sondi.
Thank you. No, thank you, Yogesh, and thank you all. As a concluding remark, I would just echo what Mr. Dar, my good friend Krishan, said, is that the Pan-IIT associations, if we work in the fashion of unconditionally helping each other, I think he articulated that, I'm just articulating it a different way, you can achieve wonderful things. I mean, the incredible support that the Pan-IIT India through Krishan gave us for the Pan-IIT USA event, which was phenomenal. And he said he doesn't know the numbers. I tell you, 17,000 attended, 17,000 participants. Okay?
Online.
Online. I'm not talking YouTube, Facebook, and so on, right? So similarly, right now, there is another issue that is, which Krishan is spearheading. So we are helping him unconditionally. All the contacts that I've developed all over the world are all now his contacts, right? So by helping each other unconditionally, you can achieve phenomenal things. I guess that's my message to everybody.
Thank you, Sondi. Krishan, you're muted. Krishan, you're muted.
The three famous words.
So the way I look at it is that, we need to put these structures in place. How people will use those structures, how they will interact, what ideas they will generate, that we don't have to worry, that they will do. But we must have the platform on which they can function in this way. At the moment, we don't have, we can develop it. Professor Gurjar mentioned about setting up industry and things. But, thing is, research funding is a different thing. There have to be some assurances of success, of progress, of time. I don't know if the IITs are ready for that in that sense. I don't know. But yes, it is something we can work on, and that is our target, really, to get all these issues dealt with.
Thank you, Krishan. And I take that word from Sondi. That is the unconditional connect, unconditional giving, and that is a key word. And I think we as alumni are, if I can speak on behalf of everybody who's listening and who's a part of our association, are unconditionally committed to the growth of our alma mater, to growth of our institute, and wherever it's possible, you'll find us coming forward and working with you. There have been so many instances I can quote, but keeping the time constraints in mind, I now hand it back to Ravindra for concluding. And thank you very much, all the panelists, for being such a, sharing your views so candidly. And thank you. Over to you, Ravindra.
Yeah. Thank you, Yogesh, for conducting a wonderful session, and lot of thoughts have emerged, and the basic idea of the topic future of alumni relationship #1 university in the world. And that article says that out of 20 top US university, 19 are governed by the alumni. Even Harvard itself in 1865, the board was governed by the alumni. Even Harvard started as a public university, but it's become in the private. And from 1865, the alumni used to play the major role. So with that article shared by Professor Ram Gopal Rao, was source of inspire to keep this topic as a future of alumni relationship. And then how the alumni relationship, in fact, the global ranking, we kept another session because when we keep, because there is a time constraint, so we thought let's have another session. So there will be some overlapping, but that was the thought has gone into this, and you have added a new dimensions to this. And as Professor Naveen Garga said, he's new to the alumni affairs. I am also the new as for the alumni association activities there. But I just picked up when I had given my first executive committee meeting address. Mr. Yogesh Anle, as a past, he told me that Ravi, you are representing 54,000, no, that time 52,000 alumni, and you have to see that you have United Nations Resolution 227, and that is your level. Even when you interact, you have to bring those persona, those personality attributes with you when you speak as a president of IIT Delhi Alumni. So you have to upscale yourself, you have to upgrade yourself, your thought process, your behavior. You have to leave that expectation of the alumni which has given you responsibility. So that was very inspiring when my first executive committee meeting, and he gave me the feedback. And
Sir, we need to close.
yeah.
We need to close.
So, and Mr. KK has given one, whatever do the IIT is that we have to be excellent in everything. Whatever the thing, design, deliver, excellence, which IIT is known for excellence. There's only one word he gave me. And of course, Sundi was my senior in Jwala, and I requested him that you be the part of this. You are global alumni, people will be enhanced with your vision, and he was source of inspiration. When I was a student, I used to think how to become like a Sundi. It was like a role model for us. So yeah.
So, since you've been so kind, one little bit of humor to conclude, okay? I discovered only one thing from this session, that Krishan Dar's spectacles are wrong because his vision is 2020.
Okay, thank you. And I think we have another session. We have to go for the. I'm very thankful to all of you because we are running on a parallel session. So the next session is going to start. And thanks for your time and sharing the thoughts and taking alumni affairs activity at a new level and giving a very larger perspective. Where IIT is like Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Like this is what I normally say. The IITians are the global brand. They are the living example of the Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Thank you, all the panelists.